Jeremy came on here just because he wanted to talk New Japan. I was like, well, like if you're gonna get to your New Japan stuff, you got to sit through the AEW
We
stuff.
got to cover
That's
through
how
all of
this
it.
stuff works. That's how this stuff works. I don't know that we need to go through every single match because
you tell me what you want to talk about, and we'll talk.
I will pitch the matches to you, and you tell me what's going on. Because I'll be honest, I have not really been keeping up with New Japan a whole lot.
Guilty.
So
okay, so
So
we're going to give you the 3-minute lowdown of everything that's going on in New Japan before we get into the
Cliff notes.
Speaking of strong style,
yes.
Speaking of strong style,
when does your show air, by the way, and where can people find it?
We go live 5:30 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, but we're going to go live on the days after Wrestle Kingdom at 5:30 p.m. Eastern with my partner Stephen Conway, who'll be in Japan, and we'll be talking about the shows as they happen the days after the show. But 5:30 p.m. Eastern every Thursday, we talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. And so what happened this year was in January, you had Nick Nemeth show up and claim fame and bring the global title to its knees, winning it from David Finlay. At the same time, Will Ospreay, Tama Tonga, and Kazuchika Okada all decided to give their notice to New Japan Pro Wrestling, throwing everything into chaos. So for the first 4 months of the year, we were reeling from people leaving and the people coming in being severely underwhelming. By April, we had...
Are you saying the great Nick Nemeth, the TNA champion, is underwhelming? The hell you say?
Him and Matt Riddle both really set the world on fire
suck, both of them.
For New Japan Pro Wrestling. By that point, we had the New Japan Cup and Yota Tsuji was on the come up. John Moxley proceeded to take the IWGP World Title from Tetsuya Naito and hold court from Chicago all the way to about July, holding that title until the G1 came by. Zack Sabre Jr. won the G1, and instead of going to Wrestle Kingdom with his title shot, he declared that he was going to take on Tetsuya Naito at the King of Pro Wrestling in October, where he proceeded to win the IWGP title and then get challenged by 3 people over the next few weeks, which were Shingo Takagi, Shota Umino, and I forgot who the last one was.
Ricochet.
Oh, Sanada. No, it was Sanada. All the people who beat him in the G1.
Japanese Ricochet.
Yes. At the point where the last of his challenges from the G1, Shota Umino wanted to challenge him, Ricochet also challenged him, which then set up the 2 title matches for the Tokyo Dome back in November. A somewhat underwhelming setup for the New Japan scenario for Wrestle Kingdom, but now we find ourselves in a position of excellent matches that are under-promising and bound to over-deliver.
Yeah, and I am going to be curious about the ticket sales for this one to see exactly how many people are going, because the lineup is not filled with like major must-see like matches like we've had in the past. AEW really did a number on that roster. They signed up all their top talent. They signed up all their top talent, including the greatest that they've ever had in Kazuchika Okada.
WWE helped out.
WWE did a little bit too. WWE signed Tama Tonga, so we got to give them some credit too. But
and Tangaloa,
yeah,
and Hikuleo,
yeah, and Hikuleo.
And
all right,
they wanted Hinare, but Hinare didn't.
All right, let's go. I'm going to start with. Here we go. All right, we got Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Evil in a Final Road special single match. Jeremy, who we got in this one?
All right, so this is a lumberjack match. About 3 weeks ago, the stipulations changed that if Tanahashi loses, he's going to retire. Everybody, do you think that New Japan Pro Wrestling would allow a guy that could contribute to ticket sales for the next 11 months, including another Tokyo Dome, that they're going to hotshot him losing and retiring now?
The president of the company?
So. What is that?
Isn't
He's going to be president of the company, but he is going to actively retire next year at the Wrestle Kingdom 20. But about 3 weeks ago at a World Tag League match angle, he proposed that if he doesn't beat Evil, he will retire at this Wrestle Kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
safe money.
pretty sure he's going to win that match.
Yeah, he's beating Evil. I think that House of Torture will be involved in this match. during the duration of it. It's a lumberjack match. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's go to the next match.
There's going to be a little
Shingo
House of
Takagi.
Torture buffet because the TV title match is right before it with Ren Narita, and then Evil is in the match right afterwards. So all the House of Torture will be kind of buttressed right in the beginning of one
okay. Takagi and Takeshita, never openweight championship match. And I think the winner goes on to Dynasty to challenge to defend the title against Ishii, right? Like both titles?
Yes, sir. It is now a winner-take-all match. And the winner will walk away with both the Never title and the International title. This has the potential to be a match of the year candidate, if we're frankly speaking.
For sure.
This is going to be a special match. Shingo Takagi is at the top of his level and fails to deliver a top-level performance anytime he's in the ring in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's been a backbone of the promotion. And a lot of everyone who listens to the show has seen Takeshita. You know what Takeshita is. And when he goes in that ring with Shingo Takagi, he's going to blow everyone's mind, and we're going to be talking about it.
Yeah, I know they all like Zach. Yeah, I know they all like Zack Sabre Jr., but I like Mike Gilbert, who passively watches New Japan now because again, AEW signed all their talent. I would have had Shingo Takagi as my world champion and my top star. I just happen to think that he's just incredible. And as far as I'm looking at the roster right now, and he's like out of everybody, I think he's the best that they got.
He is the number 2 guy for me to have the title. I think Zack Sabre Jr. is the guy to hold the title right now. In my mind, the perfect Wrestle Kingdom main event this year was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Konosuke Takeshita. But we're not getting that.
So who do you think? Do you think Takeshita beats Takagi here?
Yes, I do, because there's really no meat or interest to the idea of Shingo versus Ishii on a crossover show, Wrestle Dynasty. Doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah,
they beat Shingo a lot too. Like Shingo's pretty Teflon there.
He's kind of number 3 in his own stable right now. Maybe 4th. You know, Naito, Hiromu, and Yoda are kind of in front of him right now.
Next up, we got Junior Heavyweight Championship, Doki versus El Desperado. El Desperado, like one of the most improved wrestlers I think I've seen. Like the guy just keeps getting better. I think he's great.
Both of these guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know the story about Doki?
He's just a big fan of Green Day's first album, Dookie.
No, this dude.
This
dude worked at the Independence on Mexico. Like, he didn't work for CMLL. He didn't work for AAA. He was working for the shitty promotions, like applying his craft. And he got a shot with New Japan about 2021 because a couple of guys dropped out of the Super Junior tournament, taking a bunch of losses, just being a guy. And he got his ass all the way to being the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, not even part of the dojo system. This dude is unreal.
That is pretty freaking difficult to do. And for you to be able, like, because Takagi is like similar, right? He was not part of the New Japan.
He came up Dragon's Gate, but he had a pedigree and an ability to train with all the Japanese dojos. Doki didn't have anything like that.
Gotcha.
And so when you see him in the ring and you see what he can do, it is a testament to how amazing this guy is. And Desperado, I kind of expect him to win. I love to see Doki winning, because Doki, to me, has the single best finisher in wrestling right now. It is an elevated German suplex into a rolling pin where he holds the guy in a full Nelson as he lifts him up, German suplex him, and holds him for a pin.
Nice. So who do you got in that? Tell us who's winning.
I think Doki wins, but it's a toss-up, in all honesty.
Okay. Next up, Yota Tsuji versus David Finlay for the Global Heavyweight Championship.
David Finlay is completely underrated as the head of Bullet Club. There's a lot of people that want to remember what they think of David Finlay when he was part of FinJuice and TNA and doing a lot of these other things. But newsflash, David Finlay is a hard-hitting son of a bitch in that ring. And he hits hard, and he tells a great story in the ring. I don't think this was supposed to be the match. I think it was supposed to be Yuya Uemura in this spot based off of things that David Finlay has said in the ring, matchups with Taichi and a couple other people from that stable, Sonata joining Bullet Club from the Just Five Guys stable. Everything was all lined up for this to be Yuya Uemura. For that reason, I tend to think Finlay is going to retain this match. Yota Tsuji is going to look great, But Yota Tsuji's story is about Yota Tsuji. And there's not necessarily anything about the global title and him winning it right now that seems to be the direction. Instead, there have been stories in New Japan where the Reiwa, Yota Tsuji, Shota Umino, Ren Narita, and Yuya Uemura, they're going to struggle before they succeed. And I think we're going to see a moment here where Yota Tsuji's been very successful. He won the New Japan Cup, came in second at the G1, but at the big Tokyo Dome, he's going to fall. And I think those are the kind of stories they like to tell in New Japan.
Yeah, I thought they were going to pull the trigger on Yota Tsuji like a year or two ago, and it looks like they still haven't. They're still telling that story of his rise to the top. So, kind of like what they're doing with Shota Umino, with him being in the main event. But maybe
I think they're going to have very, very similar trajectories this year leading into next year.
Gotcha. Maybe they'll put Tsuji in the main event next year. Next up, co-main event: Tetsuya Naito versus Hiromu Takahashi. Is Takahashi going up to heavyweight?
No.
Okay.
But he's going to be fluctuating in between. He was in the World Tag League. He wrestled the Never Openweight title against Hinare. Was supposed to do it again before Hinare get. So they're putting him out of the junior heavyweight division, but they're not committing him to it in that way. I think he's just going to be one of those guys that bounces in between because of his immense popularity.
Liger.
Very much so.
Yeah.
There's a chance that he comes out of it, but everything is in such a state of flux with New Japan that I don't think they want to commit to any specific division. I think the direction is one of these guys is going to win, obviously. It should probably be Hiromu, but I think it'll be Naito, and then they're going to go ahead and be a tag team for the first half of 2025.
Gotcha. And then, of course, main event, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota Umino. Who you got in that one?
I think Zack Sabre Jr. is going to win this match. There's a lot of people that haven't really bought into Shota Umino being the guy to challenge, but there was an absence of people at the top this year. When all was said and done, and if you weren't going to bring a guy from the outside to be the main event challenger for Zack Sabre Jr., you weren't going to want it to be Naito because they already did that match. Everyone would lose their mind if it was a guy like Evil or somebody like that. So when you start, like, the ranks get a little thinner, Shota Umino ended up being the guy. And they did a lot of work trying to build him up as a sympathetic babyface that people don't feel like he has a chance, but he has that fire and he's going to do it anyways. And, you know, it's like they want to believe that he believes kind of thing. Shota Umino definitely has a confidence issue with his performances and the way that he is perceived by the ring. But this is all can be turned into a positive to help him grow into that full main eventer. You know, this is why they talk about people not being ready in 2 years and it takes 3 years to make a main eventer. This is exactly why. It's like he's had his moments in the sun. He's had that opportunity, but it was going to be tough at times and he was going to struggle on the way to the top. And trust me, 2024 was not a kind year to Shota Umino, both in and outside of the ring. So how he handles it and how he perseveres going into Wrestle Kingdom 20, where if it were me, he's the guy to retire Hiroshi Tanahashi. Yeah. That seems like the direction for him.
Gotcha. Okay. So we think Zach is obviously going to retain here, right? And then he's going to head over into the main event against Ricochet.
In my mind, if Shota won, that would make the IWGP Championship match on Wrestle Dynasty Shota versus Claudio Castagnoli.
Okay.
Do you think that's
it's Wrestle Dynasty? Event? So this is a joint venture between AEW and New Japan, right?
Yes. Okay. And Ring of Honor and CMLL and Stardom.
Jeremy, don't act like Ring of Honor is different than AEW. Don't do that.
I will tell you, when they actually put a Ring of Honor match on here, I nearly shit myself.
That's so funny.
It was like, they did what? They actually did? Hell yeah. And then the match did.
You know what? That's right. Looks like they got Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara versus Kanemaru and Show. I wasn't going to talk about that one, though. But that is on the card.
That match is
and it looks like Athena's defending her title in the opening match, right?
To fight over a whiskey bottle.
Yeah. All right. Mina Shirakawa versus Mercedes Moné. 0% chance Mercedes loses, right?
I don't know. The Rev Pro title is super weird. Do you think Mercedes is going to go wrestle in Rev Pro? Really?
I do. She's only wrestled like 10 matches. She's got the time.
I don't think she is. I think it's just to elevate it in some way. I don't see Mercedes booked for any New Japan shows. I see Mina booked for some New Japan shows. I see this Rev Pro title that Mina has. And I think it's a lot more likely that Mina Shirakawa is going to Rev Pro shows to defend that title than Mercedes. If Mercedes
you don't think Andy wants Mercedes Moné to have that belt?
I absolutely think he does, but at the same time, there's a business aspect of what happens if she only has it one time and then drops the belt immediately.
That's fine.
Dude, I'm sure Andy Quinlan wants
I'm throwing all of these things out there as a reason why I'm not 100% sure that it's a lockdown Mercedes wins this match. There's been something about it that makes me think I'm not sure she does.
Mercedes 3 belts. I've been silent on this, but
there's a belt connect. There's absolutely a belt collector gimmick in the wings here.
There isn't a
do with her.
Ghost chance in hell Mina Shirakawa is going to beat Mercedes Moné for the Rev Pro title.
It's not happening. Let's go IWGP Tag Team Champion Decider match. I don't think I know what that means, but it's Great-O-Khan and Great-O-Khan's partner Silhouette versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson here.
This is a mess. This is a huge mess. During the World Tag League, Henare tore his ACL, and he and Great-O-Khan were the IWGP Tag Team Champions.
That sucks because Henare is great, by the way.
Henare is great. He's a beast. And Great-O-Khan has been pretty tremendous this year as well.
You know what? The initial rollout of Great-O-Khan was like over the top cheese, and I don't think it worked. But he turned himself into like a pretty fucking good character. I think he's really good.
I think the interesting thing is to see the rehabilitation of Great-O-Khan when Okada left.
Yeah. Hey, keep going. I'll be right back.
You got it. So here's what happened. Here's what happened with this title match. Okay. Henare tore his ACL. And then they're like, oh shit, the Young Bucks are supposed to be doing this match. And instead of vacating it or maybe having Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi doing this match or doing a multi-person match, they went ahead and said Great-O-Khan has vacated it, but he is going to wrestle alongside a mystery partner against the Young Bucks for the IWGP titles. For whatever reason, they have to get those titles on the Young Bucks. That's the implication that I'm getting out of all of this. And if I could be Jeff Cobb is the person that I think would be the partner.
Why not advertise that then? Why not just say it's going to be Jeff Cobb?
I don't know, because maybe they haven't completely decided yet, because it's probably going to be a United Empire member. The United Empire is completely decimated right now. It could be somebody like Mark Davis or somebody that they roll over from AEW, but it would make more sense to be a New Japan guy. At the end of the day, it's going to be whoever the Young Bucks want to be the other guy in that thing, be it Templario, be it Jeff Cobb, be it TJP, or Akira, any one of the guys in the United Empire, in order to have the matches.
Jeff Cobb's probably the most interesting, but
Jeff Cobb is definitely the most interesting.
Like with most things with the Young Bucks, I just think,
Well, the end game is going to be the Young Bucks dropping the titles in Japan to Hiromu and Naito.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah.
Next up, Ishii challenging either Takagi or Takeshita, which I'm pretty sure we all believe is going to be Takeshita. And Ishii doesn't win matches, so Takeshita wins, right?
This match is going to be a slapper. Takeshita wins. Make time to watch it.
Yeah. Good stuff. Yota Tsuji versus Jungle Boy's on this show?
Jack Perry.
Yeah. Okay. Yota Tsuji versus Jungle Boy. I mean, please tell me Yota Tsuji's going to win.
Absolutely.
Okay. Good. Thank God.
Jack Perry is fun in New Japan, but this is all designed to get Yota Tsuji a win, presumably after he loses to David Finlay the night before.
Well, and Tony Khan sending a guy that he doesn't care if he wins or loses. So he's like,
there's a lot of people that Tony Khan seems to be sending that he doesn't seem to mind if they lose or not.
Yeah, or he doesn't seem to mind if he's on his television shows. So this one's interesting because I'm curious about how they book this one. David Finlay versus Brody King. I think it's going to be a good match, but I think that Brody King is a guy that AEW really needs to start getting behind. But I think on paper, it looks like Finlay will probably win this match because he's in a more elevated position in his company than Brody King is in his company. But eventually, I think they're going to have to start getting behind Brody King. I know they're going to sign the next WWE fired and push him over Brody King. That's what the fuck they do in this company. But eventually, they're going to have to push Brody.
Brody King gets the highest ceiling from the House of Black. Fight me.
Oh yeah. Who would fight you on that? It's obvious.
Yeah.
From
I
day
just
one.
want to make that clear. He is the best of that. He is the most affable to work with. He is the one that seems least likely to bitch about his booking. Everything about him is like, you are a model employee and I like you.
Yeah.
Book him.
Yeah.
Book him like him. Be amazing.
Next up,
I expect
Shota
it to be
Umino.
kind of
We're
similar to that
assuming without the
Ospreay
title.
Brody King match on the C2, where Finley is just kind of struggling to beat him, but there's going to be a level of brutality to it that I think I'm going to be here for.
Okay. Yeah, it should be pretty good. Shota Umino versus Claudio Castagnoli. I mean, they gotta put over Shota on this one, right?
I think so, but I wouldn't rule out Moxley showing up and fucking over Shota.
Okay.
Is Shota out of the doghouse?
For the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, Moxley sent a video saying, I'm not going to bother showing up for you. If he's not on Dynamite, keep an eye out. He might even be on Dynamite and then be a crazy person and fly to Japan just to fuck with that match at the very
He
end.
would do that.
You know what happened on Impact one time is Sammy Callahan teleported one time from the Impact Zone in Nashville to Jacksonville on the same night during a taping there. So they did this pay-per-view with Impact where the main event was Moose versus Kenny Omega, but that was from Daly's place. It was taped, right? That was from Daly's place.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy Callahan was in a match earlier in the night and he came to attack Kenny Omega and he somehow teleported from Nashville to Orlando. And I wrote a whole article about the probability of him being able to catch a private jet from Nashville to Orlando. It was a whole thing I did, a whole bit. Maybe that's what he's doing.
Who knows, man? The whole thing is just Moxley does this gimmick, right? He takes over a promotion and he's like, you have to fight me to win this thing back. He did it in GCW, he did it in New Japan, and now he's doing it in AEW. Yeah. And it's fine, but by the time he's gotten doing it in AEW, seen him doing it in all these other promotions, you're kind of like, this is what you do. Okay. This is your signature move. Let's run it back.
Yeah. Kenny Omega returns to the ring for New Japan / AEW, and he's going up against Buzz Sawyer's grandson, I think, Gabe Kidd.
That's a great comparison.
Like
That's really
Buzz Sawyer might have run roughshod over right before he died in the 90s in the UK at some point, and met Gabe Kidd's mom because he really reminds me of Buzz Sawyer.
Gabe Kidd, you either love him or hate him. And there's a lot of people that hate Gabe Kidd because they think he's dangerous. They think he's reckless. They think whatever it is about pro wrestling, he's the bad part of. And I look at pro wrestling as like, man, you make me feel like pro wrestling is real when I see you. And that is the best compliment I can give a guy. Is when I see him and I think, I believe you when you are in that ring. And he has gotten better this year. There were moments that he had that showed like a maturity and growth. Instead of being the madman raging and trying to get the attention on him, he would do something and then he would quietly let the moment sink in, stomping around the ring rather than pantomiming and being all Hulk smash at the same time. Little things like that have made me very, very confident in what he's going to be able to do in the ring with Kenny Omega. And when I get to Kenny Omega, my immediate gut instinct is temper your expectations. Don't expect the best bout machine. Just expect and be happy that Kenny Omega is back in a ring, getting his confidence back, getting his timing back, and getting the love from the fans. Because you may think that going back in front of 25,000 people in front of the Tokyo Dome might suck, but they are going to love him and they are going to will him to succeed no matter what happens in that match. And it is the best place for him.
That's what I was saying earlier. I think it's a good environment for Kenny to have his comeback match because he's not going to have to do the Kenny Omega match. He's going to work with a brawler who was going to respect the shit out of him, but has that edge to it that's going to be interesting. And Kenny's going to do great things with Gabe Kidd. Gabe Kidd's probably going to have the best match of his career. If you don't have the best match of your career with Kenny Omega, I don't know what you're doing. So I think it's super interesting. I like that Kenny probably sees it as a challenge, and he's not going to have to do all the crazy Kenny Omega shit. So I think it's smart booking.
We're going to get one spot where Gabe Kidd suplexes Kenny Omega's midsection through a table, and it's going to be the heat for the entire match.
Mhm.
Yeah. Main event is very likely Zack Sabre Jr. versus Ricochet. Ricochet doesn't belong anywhere near a Tokyo Dome main event at this point. He's a geek. Tony Khan has just totally destroyed this guy. I think they think that they're getting him over as a heel, and they might be right, but it's like not a heel that you want to see in the main event. Like, he is a geek heel. But that's what we're getting. That's what they're sending over to the Tokyo Dome. Either way, Ricochet loses, right?
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
The card on New Japan says card subject to change. And interestingly enough, Gabe Kidd versus Kenny Omega is listed higher on the card than Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet. It is listed as the main event of the show.
Well,
so that's why you did that with the slideshow you sent me. I tried to pull up the slides on the StreamYard thing, but it wasn't working. So I've just been going back and forth.
Yeah. So according to the New Japan, they said card is subject to change, but when they have it on their website, that is the last match on the card for that.
Okay.
And I think the card subject to change has to do with the flexibility and the fluctuations between who wins what title. Like, Finley would be below Yoda if Yoda won that match and ended up being Yoda versus Jack Perry for the global title. And it would be Finley versus Brody King non-title. So I think that's why it's card subject to change. I don't think Kenny Omega should not be the main event of this show.
Yeah. I am not, like, if your world title match isn't that interesting, you could have you can have the more interesting match on top.
Yeah. No favors have been done to New Japan with the booking of Ricochet. Ricochet has shown up one time in November to propagate this match. He didn't show up in Long Beach to do any build for this match. He's done no video packages. He's literally just a guy having a match with a guy who might be the IWGP champion on January 5th. And frankly, and for the best, given how he's been booked like a fucking geek.
Okay, hold on. I don't think we can blame Tony for this altogether, because Ricochet has shown up and not held up his end of the bargain. Like, he's not been great in the ring. He's not been anything special to write home about. Ricochet came here thinking he was just going to be over because he's Ricochet. And like, he's one of these dudes that came over from WWE thinking he was good, that he was bigger than the promotion. So I think Ricochet has kind of earned his spot as being a geek. And I don't think it's fair to book Tony. I think this is what Tony should do to guys who come in and don't want to get here. They should get treated like a geek and get thrown toilet paper at them.
Yeah.
I think Ricochet's wrestling instincts are completely all over the place, and he has no sense of self-preservation in this business whatsoever.
And I really think they should have pivoted off of that match for the main event. It's pro wrestling, guys. It's fake. You can just put whatever match that you want. If a guy is not getting over, or if he's being a geek on the way in, guess what? You can sign a different match. You could put a more interesting match together. There's other people on this card that they could have put in that position. You could have elevated anybody else. It did not have to be Ricochet.
That's easily said to Tony, hey, we're not doing our show. Ricochet in your IWGP title match.
Yeah.
I definitely think that Ricochet, we talk about wrestlers being selfish and protective of their characters. And there are guys like Ricochet that have no sense of preservation whatsoever. And he is just like, yeah, let's do that for your character. My guy will do this instead. And it's just like, he's the giving tree, and he's giving everything to Swerve and to Lashley and to all these other guys. And what he's able to do in the ring is not making up for what he's given away.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for our preview of Wrestle Kingdom and Wrestle Dynasty. They're going back-to-back nights, January 4th and January 5th from the Tokyo Dome. I'm not really sure on how this is going to do. Hey, I got a question for you guys, though. Before we sign off, I do have a question. You know the TNA intro song, Cross the Line? You guys remember that song?
If I heard it, I'd be like, yeah, I know it.
You know their theme song with the intro song. Have you ever listened to that song and was like, what if that were a country song? JD, come back.
This is my destiny. It is the truth I see in this world.
Welcoming the next era.
A way to cross the line.
Jesus
All
Christ.
right.
Honestly, you need to go home every Sunday night with that song. Take it home.
Oh,
Rock
man.
you to sleep on a Sunday night with the Crocs the Line country style.
They never should have gave me AI. That was really a bad thing to give me.
AI was a mistake.
AI was definitely a mistake, but but that is going to do it
wasn't
for
a
us.
mistake for me to come on the show with you tonight because I had a blast.
Yes, thank you so much, Jeremy Finestone, an OG of Brace for Impact, the guy that put JD and I together. We're
You
thankful of
blame
him.
me,
Our wives
everybody.
hate him.
I'm the asshole.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. He is the reason why I've been stuck with JD for 3 years on podcasts. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
But thank you, Jeremy. Speaking of strong style on the Fight Game Media Network, now we've moved off of Thursdays, so you've picked up the slack, and now you're a Thursday show, right?
Yeah, I just show up and I record whenever somebody has an idea for me to talk about something. And New Japan just kind of trucks along and does its own thing. Sometimes it has a big show. We'll do a live show, like a reaction, but that's like once or twice a year. People can just kind of pick up their shows and watch them and check in every Thursday because, you got that streaming service and people, they're watching it overnight. And the majority of people are not getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning to watch a New Japan show. They're picking up the shows here and there whenever they can.
Yeah. No sane person is doing that. It's only crazy ass wrestling fans and even worse, crazy ass podcasters like you. So those are the only people that are doing that. But check out Jeremy Finestone on the Fight Game Media Network. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel. Make sure you're a subscriber to this YouTube channel. We just crossed 2,000 subscriptions, so thank you very much. But also head to patreon.com/the Mike and JD show. I did a good 90-minute Brace for Impact yesterday morning. I had a fun time doing that. We're back tonight. This audio is going to be immediately up on the Patreon, so go over to Patreon. And then I'm going to be back throughout the week, just popping in as news breaks to do some stuff. And JD already has something in the can that he forgot to email me that I need to upload. But
I did.
I'm also going to harass JD to talk about comic books and Superman. We have stuff to unpack, and maybe other people want to hear what we have to say.
I think that an occasional comic book men type show with JD and Jeremy, I think would get over pretty well on our network. We do have some crossover with comic book, but we'll be back throughout the week doing some stuff. JD's got something that's going to be uploaded here pretty soon, I'm sure. But thanks everybody for being here. That's going to do it for us on the Mike and JD show. And until next time, mahalo.
Competition starting to get thick, it's a click, so I hope you watch your A game. A made no rain from the track when we unite and spit. This isn't A game, better bring your A game. Competition starting to get thick, it's a click, so I hope you watch your A game. A made no rain from...
Video goes